everybody, and welcome to ZSL London Zoo. My name is Jim Mackie and I'm the Animal Training and Behaviour Management Officer here, and I'm responsible for training and enrichment programmes across our two zoos, London and Whipsnade. Today we're going to be talking to you about various training programmes and enrichment programmes that are present here at the two zoos, and my colleagues in the Behaviour Management Committee will be talking you through those. Here you can see my two colleagues Sam and Agnes, who are currently training our squirrel monkeys, and this is the latest species that we're training for induction in the specially designed induction tubes that you can see here, and that's what young Pip has just run into to do his training today.
So just a few days after that training session, Pip needed to go to the vets for his actual anaesthetic event. He was going up there to have a transponder inserted. So as you can see, he trained really well that day, and Rowan, who did the training, was then able to recall the rest of the group away to keep him calm while he was in the tube. Meanwhile, Jacob was able to help me, taking Pip up to the vet department, where Sophie, Stamos and Luke were waiting to carry out the procedure. Now what we found with this induction device, and you can see the tubes fitted inside there with the gas going in, is that the process to recumbency is very, very smooth, as is the recovery afterwards as well. So this is a design with animal welfare in mind, and as you can see, Pip just laid down and went to sleep. Now this is a really good sign that the process to recumbency was a really good one, and the vets always seem to report that's the case. So this is Pip about 5 minutes after we let him back out into his enclosure, and as you can see, he's not wobbling around. His recovery was really smooth,
and he can be reinforced for
amazingly
just coming onto the table.
Amazingly, a couple of hours afterwards, we thought, well, let's just try and see if he wants to go back in the tube.
No way.
After such a big deal, you think that might be quite difficult. So you can hear me saying in the background there, no way, I can't believe he's gone in. And so we thought, well, let's see if he wants to be shut back inside the tube, and if he doesn't mind that. And as you can see, he's totally calm, and took 2 or 3 reinforcers inside the tube, literally 2 hours after recovering from a general anaesthetic event, where he's been taken away from his group and from his habitat. So we were really impressed with that, and it's that determines the success or otherwise of this particular induction device, because it isn't fast. The process to recumbency is relatively slow because it's quite a large chamber, but it's the smoothness and the way that the animals recover so brilliantly and then return to training straight afterwards that is the real measure of the success of this device. But it's not the first time it's been used. It was designed by 2 of my colleagues at ZSL a few years ago, and it's now been used multiple times with lots of different species. The original version of this was designed for callitrichids, so small monkeys, and as you can see here, it's a clear acrylic tube designed and built specifically for animal welfare and training, so operant conditioning in mind, because what the animal sees is the clear cue from the trainer to go to the end and take reinforcement, and then it's really easy to train the animal to have the cap closed over the end of it, as you'll see in the next video. So this was the entire process to training an emperor tamarin into the tube. So this is the very first time that it was used with a little emperor tamarin called Bob. And here he is jumping into the tube there on the second session. And that second session was probably on the same day as the first session. And as you can see, straight away he's jumping inside the tube there. By session 3, you can see that the cap has now been moved, so he started to habituate to the cap being there, and he's taking more than 1 reinforcer for staying in the tube, and maybe he leaves and then comes back again. And then session 4, and what you can see here is him going in, and it's pre-baited now, and then Steve is moving the cap towards the end. Now he's very conscious here that he doesn't want to alarm the animal, so in that very first session he was ready to take that cap away, bit of negative reinforcement there, removal of the stimulus, so that by session 5 he could actually use the cap moving away to reinforce calm behaviour or continuing to eat at the other end. And as you can see here, that's pretty clear. So waiting for him to be nice and calm, and then opening the cap. And that means that element of control or negative reinforcement, however you want to describe it, means that the likelihood of him being back into the tube straight away is increased, and the durations are great. And so it only took 7 sessions in total for this behaviour to be fully shaped. And so then straight after that we were able to take him to the vets, and that very first use of this really proved something, and that was that not only was it really easy to train, it was great to take the animal out of their own habitat without any stress, but also they retrain really fast. So we've used it loads and loads of times now, over 80 different times, with loads of different species, including 9 different types of primate, including this little fellow. This is a Moholly bush baby, and these are the latest species to be part of the program for induction into these specially designed chambers. So I'd just like to acknowledge a couple of my colleagues. First of all, Steve Goodwin, who's in the picture here with the Tamandua. He identified what was really required in terms of the ICD, and so he designed this clear acrylic tube, and that enabled us to be far more effective with our training and ensure repeatability. In terms of the build, well, that's my other colleague George, who still works at ZSL London Zoo and is busy building many more of these tubes as we speak. Thank you, George. So I'd just like to introduce the Behaviour Management Committee, because today you're going to see 4 different case studies from the co-chairs of the Behaviour Management Committee. So the Behaviour Management Committee is made up of representatives from all of the animal sections in both of our zoos, and they're 2 separate groups that collaborate and share experiences and knowledge. You're going to see today some very diverse subjects: elephants, blue-throat macaws, red river hogs and barbaroussa, and some turtle, crocodile and crested wood partridge case studies too. And I think they're all really interesting, so I'm sure you look forward to those. So just to give you an idea of what the Behaviour Management Committee is all about, you can watch this video. The Behaviour Management Committee was founded in 2011 by zookeepers with the aim of promoting the use of trained behaviour and enrichment to enhance animal welfare.
We share our knowledge of training and enrichment within ZSL and with other zoological collections around the world. Once a year we hold our BMC presentation evening, and that's where everyone in the zoo is invited to come and watch and listen to our stories and successes of training and enrichment throughout the year. When I joined ZSL, I was inspired by the work that the BMC was doing, and now I get to be part of the group inspiring new and younger keepers to progress and start their own training and enrichment programs.
So the BMC host enrichment building workshops, such as a recent one we did with parrots, and we created tons of toys for our parrots around the zoo. We had Hose to Habitat come in and give us workshops, and we've since done our own fire hose building workshops. We create enrichment for reptiles. We share our knowledge and experience amongst the different groups of people that work with these animals. We are very inclusive actually at ZSL. I feel a great sense of pride that we use trained behaviour and enrichment across the taxonomic groups. So here you go with our Komodo dragons having an audio recall there with Joe. So Joe's our current herp rep, and he is a real inspiration to a lot of us who work within the zoo. Does tons of training and enrichment with the reptiles. We also train our fish, and we have an aquarium rep who is a keen animal trainer. And there's no animal too big or too small to participate. There you had our bears, and we did a great bear workshop for our Biaza colleagues at Whipsnade Zoo a couple of years ago. And of course here we have the smallest end of the scale, which is our Sengi or elephant shrew, getting some enrichment. And one of our favourites, the wonderful Asian short-clawed otters, which we have on both sides. So I'd just like to finish by quoting Sam and Vicky, who say that of the many factors that can affect zoo animal behaviour, particular attention should be paid to human-animal interactions that occur on a daily basis between keepers and animals, as they are a vital and permanent feature of the animals' lives. Now, the reason why I say this is because I genuinely believe that the use of trained behaviour to build coping skills and develop human-animal relationships can be very impactful, as can the presence of enrichment, because enrichment, of course, really does promote that physical and mental well-being that our animals need in order to thrive in captive care. Thanks very much for listening. Enjoy the rest of the presentations. Thanks to the BMC co-chairs Thomas, Jeremy, Eva and Hannah that are presenting today, all the BMC reps that have helped us, my colleagues on the ZSL evidence-based animal care team and ZSL wildlife health services teams, and everyone here listening and watching these presentations that is doing their bit to improve animal welfare through behaviour management. Thanks very much.